Okay. It's working out great. Hey,
I
FYI,
am back.
guys, if um, you got, how's it going, by the way, everyone?
Wow.
Hey, how's it going? I'm streaming at the moment, but I'm not doing a typical stream. I'm doing my first like live podcast stream. If you guys like have any like engaging questions to like throw in the chat, that'd be awesome. If not, don't worry about it. Just wanted to like throw that out there.
About what?
Just like whatever.
Any topic? Oh.
I'm like looking at like right now I'm just looking at like I saw this like rumor that
Wait, what do you need?
just like subjects, I guess, like thrown into like the chat, just like to
Well,
discuss.
throw one in your stupid ones. Team Smelly versus Team Dumb.
Yeah, start. Yeah, there we go. We'll start that off. I like that. Okay, cool.
And then another one. What's worse, episode fucking 8 or episode 9? We had plenty of dumbass subjects, but we can go on for days on that one.
Hey, I mean, if anyone wants to like I'm gonna just like, is there a Discord channel I could just be in? So like,
You should be able to go to the streaming one.
okay. Well, if
Click.
anyone
It
wants to
does
go,
click on the very bottom so you can go in there.
no, I can't.
That's weird.
Hopefully this guy's in chat.
Dusty, can you give me prep to go in there?
Okay, I don't know what powers you need. Give me a second.
I think it's only us, Dust.
But wait, I'll throw him in there then.
Yeah, then just let us know. We'll just throw you in.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If you guys like have any other questions. Okay. How's it going, everyone? This is Jason Navarro. We're doing Tongues Out Podcast live today on our first live podcast stream. Just wanted to let some friends know that I was doing this just a second ago in their Discord channel. It's just like a random gaming channel that I'm in, but a lot to talk about today. I've never done one of these before where I essentially talk directly to an audience. When I've done streaming, it's always been like I'm actively playing like a game and I'm engaging with my audience that way. So this is definitely going to be really new to me. If I make mistakes or things come about, then don't mind throwing it in the chat. Just let me know. Outside of that, today it's just a trial just to see how this is going to work out. And see, just kind of like it's a learning experience. I'm gonna see obviously a lot of things that I'm doing wrong, what I could improve on. But essentially, it's going to be the same thing as if I was just doing a normal podcast as well. So this is going to be more like you get to see exactly what I'm what I'm looking at. We'll have some supporting argument or like supporting material to like what I'm discussing. So when it's in an audible format, you really don't get that. And when I've been recording the podcast, the two most recent ones, it's just been of me. This time around, though, now I'm going to incorporate a little bit more of just like a little bit thorough research. I want to start making this a platform where if I have like any subscribers, they want to like discuss about any specific subject, then I'll throw that in there as well. If you see me occasionally looking to my right, it's just because I'm trying to like make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat. Yeah, so like if anyone has like any questions to pitch it to the chat, that's kind of like revolves around the subject I'm talking about at the moment, then by all means they could do that. I'm going to start off today, actually, today's podcast with a question that was actually pitched to me by a friend earlier today on Facebook, actually. Let me actually let him know that I'm doing this too, so he knows that. If he's even awake, because he's East Coast, but I should have done this before. But again, this is what making mistakes looks like. So anyways, so my friend had asked me earlier today, I wrote about a year ago, I think it was, that I'm personally probably never going to buy a property. That I'm more than likely going to always be a perpetual renter, and that I don't really see the necessity to really owning property, or not owning. Like I can understand owning commercial property if that's ever something I want to tackle in the future, maybe. But like owning like my own house or owning like my own condominium, I never really thought I would ever do that. And so he asked me today, he was like, you know, I was thinking about you, and I was still wondering if you would, if you're still not open to purchasing a house if I'm always going to be renting. And so I've had a year to kind of sit and think about this. One of the things that's going to help support my argument is that I actually moved into a house in November to try to see if that was something that I was going to enjoy. Having my own house, having like multiple bedrooms, seeing the benefit in that. Because for a long time, I've always lived with roommates. And when I was in relationships, I would normally just like rent out like apartments. Didn't really see the benefits of owning like a house. And so I've been like one of those type of people. My argument supporting why I would be renting forever was the fact that it allowed me the flexibility of just doing whatever I wanted to do. I've always viewed myself as the type of person that really isn't going to be really fixated in one location. I lived a majority of my life in Florida up until my mid-20s. And then when I made the decision to move to Colombia, the country, for a few years, the moment I came back to the States, I told myself that I never wanted to be the person that had to stay fixated in one location forever. And I still don't believe that. And so I've been living in Las Vegas now for 5 years, which I feel like has been a very long time. I've been kind of forced to have to do it for personal reasons I'm not going to discuss on this podcast, but it's looking like that's going to be kind of the thing for going forward for a little bit. And so, but me and my wife have been talking about looking at the next destination where we want to go. And we're not entirely sure yet where that is. We have some ideas. We're kind of excited about one of them. If it ends up working out that way, then we might actually look into buying in the area that we're looking to possibly move to. But to answer your question, Brian, I still don't like the idea of owning property. I'm actually glad that I didn't invest, because at the time I was thinking about either buying a house or renting a house. And luckily I first made the decision to rent because I wanted to make sure that I liked the area that we were living in. And I hate having a big house. I really do. It's a lot of cleaning. I have one room that's not even being used. You could argue that it would probably be used a lot more if I had family that was coming in, but because of COVID-19, it's not being used at all. And so essentially we've been forced to, like, I have my own office. My wife has her own office. We have our own bedroom, and the other room was made for our daughter, but essentially she's been sleeping with us, with her crib and everything in our room. And so the other room hasn't really been used. You could argue that as she gets older, obviously she'll need her own room. But again, like, me and my wife both don't need our own offices. It doesn't really make sense. We're not like while one person's working, the other person's kind of watching Luna. And then while the other person's working, the other person's watching Luna. So essentially there's never an instance where both of us are working at the exact same time. So there's no necessity to have both of us having our own office. So we just kind of made it that way. So like I can have like all of this real estate to do whatever I want, and then she has all that real estate to do whatever she wants to do with it. But I don't know. It's not something that I really feel like I need. And so if I did own something, it would probably be a lot smaller of a place. No more than 3 bedrooms. I don't think I need anything more than 3 bedrooms. And I don't know. I'm glad also that I didn't invest, because real estate property I feel like is going to diminish in value here in Las Vegas. I really feel bad for a lot of people that pulled a trigger in buying property, because luckily for me, let's say worst case scenario happened and I lost my job, my wife lost her job, and we only had enough savings to really pay off the next 6 months of rent. After that, if worse came to shove, or push came to shove, I could move back to Florida and be, unfortunately have to live with my family, but that's a realization that I have. Whereas if I own a property, more likely what's going to happen is that, if I can't find a job, that I'm going to have to try to see if I can find someone to rent the property. And if I can't, then I'm going to have to foreclose on my property. And that foreclosure is just as bad as a bankruptcy. You're looking at your credit taking a massive tank. Even if you do like a short sell, that's horrible for your credit. And so I'm glad that I don't have that pressure on me, because there was a moment for about 2 or 3 months after the pandemic hit and I got furloughed that I was like, I don't even know what our situation is going to be like. Like, we definitely can't live off of just my wife's income. And that recently has changed for us with me doing Medicare sales now, but and having the ability to do that from home. But if it wasn't for the case, then yeah, you could argue I could have gotten creative with the additional pressure. I probably would have definitely worked a little bit harder. But again, I would be put in a position where I don't want to risk myself being out in public and getting COVID-19, because my daughter at the moment just can't risk getting that kind of a disease. And so I would have been so stressed out with having to decide a kind of the perspective I would have dealt with. So I'm glad I didn't buy in Las Vegas. If I was living in a different area, possibly, I might change my mindset about buying, but I'm going to stick with renting for a while. I enjoy the flexibility. I enjoy the ability that I can go anywhere. And honestly, if you're a smart person, what most people should do when they're renting is taking the money that they're saving from not having to invest and repair your property and things of that nature, and they should take that money and put it somewhere to generate should just generate interest on it, so that you can offset the losses that you're not making by owning a property. Because obviously when you own real estate, it is an investment per se, and obviously throughout the course of history, real estate eventually does build up value. And I think it's I don't quote me on it, but I think it's on average like 7.5% that you could generate on real estate value year over year on average. I mean, obviously depending on the area, if you lucked out and invested somewhere and it ended up becoming a very popular area, that number could be higher. Or if you invested in an area like Las Vegas right now, it's probably going to be a lot lower. But if you fluctuated over like a span of like, I think 10 to 15 years, um, the average rate of return on a house purchase is about 7.5%. I could tell you though that if you invested in the market in that same time period, you're definitely going to be making a lot more. The market does fluctuate, but it has a track record of just doing this. I mean, it does have its fluctuations, but if you play the long game and you just put your money aside and don't look at it and don't touch it, then I mean, putting your money in the market is probably a little bit better of a move. Saving, with rent and just only like, I view like a property as just a place to just like kind of sleep. I hate the idea of having to stay somewhere, unless obviously COVID-19 really changed that for a lot of people. It changed that for myself. But if it wasn't for COVID-19, I would not be in this house right now. I would be in other places doing other things with my family. But like in moments like COVID-19, I guess having a big place and having like a ton of stuff that you could do in your house is pretty great. But again, I don't think I need the additional real estate to do something like that. There are moments sometimes that I wish I could, like, I don't know, like paint the walls certain colors or do certain things. But and like you ask your landlord and deal with that. But honestly though, like, I don't want to be a painter. I would not enjoy painting one room, let alone multiple rooms. It's just not me. It's just like, there are other people that are like if you're a hardy person and you like getting involved and like working on things, then I could see like why owning your own property is kind of cool. Outside of like the investment approach, you get to like put a lot of your soul into a place. Like my parents do that. They've remodeled literally the entire house that I grew up in, and it looks phenomenal, the work that they did. And you could really only do something like that, or you would only want to do something like that if you owned it. So I could appreciate why people would want to own for that aspect, or like I said, as like an investment. But I always think of the fact of like owning real estate as a stressor. I think like um, that's just the way I framed it in my mind. Let's say even if I owned a property and wanted to rent it out, I have to deal with like um, tenants and like dealing with like trying to deal with tenants during a pandemic right now and wondering if your tenants are going to be able to pay rent would be so stressful. Like thinking about owning multiple properties during something like this or a financial crisis must be the most stressful thing as landlords. And, you know, obviously, if you don't have tenants renting, you're not making money and you're having to cough up the cost for the mortgages on multiple different properties. So the idea of even owning a property and then, you know, renting it out, there's no guarantee in that. And then you also don't know the likelihood that you're going to have a good tenant unless it's like a close friend or that you could trust or a close family member. I don't have a big family and no one in my family would rent for me because they already have like their own houses. So I can't even rely on family. And so it would have to be friends. And I honestly don't really have the type of friends that I would really trust as tenants, to be honest. They're great people, but I mean, I have like, but the financially responsible friends already have like their own things. So they're not going to rent for me. And so like the people that I would know that would probably need a place to rent are probably people I'm not going to trust to have it. So I'm going to have to look for a stranger. I'm going to do research. Yeah, you could hire a company to do that, but those are cost and those costs diminish your value that you're going to be gaining from your property. So um it's just it's a headache. Like I'm not the type of person that like wants millions of different ways of making money and like all of them require involvement from me and having to think about like I need to worry about this industry now, I need to worry about this industry and I need to worry about that. Like I would rather have like something like this. It's just like a hobby that possibly in the future, if it blows up enough, that I can make some money from. um and then maybe my own thing, but it doesn't really require a lot of my time, and that's about it. My wealth really comes from this one thing, and obviously they say, you know, don't try to get all your money from one industry, and I would never argue for that. But you could take the money that you make and invest it, and that doesn't really require any of your time, because if you're a long investor, how I approach investing, then you just kind of throw your money into the market and just let it sit, and then, you know, 10, 15, 20 years when it comes time to collect on dividends and things of that nature, you can do that. But so yeah, I still 8 times out of 10, or again, a majority of the time, I would see myself renting. Um, 2 times out of 10, the reason why I would probably buy is just because of a phenomenal investment opportunity that, you know, obviously would be stupid to not jump on. Or if I change in 5 to 10 years and want to become more of a hands-on type of person, maybe then. But I don't really see that as like I've been kind of this way for a long time, but it would also be far-fetched for me to think that I don't change an interest over periods of time in my life. But the idea of being hands-on just doesn't seem like something I would want to do. And it's also something that my wife's creative, but I don't think she also would want to get hands-on. And so unless like our daughter wanted to, I don't know. I also don't like, I'm going to homeschool my kid as well. I'm going to homeschool my daughter. And so that doesn't really require us to really be fixated in one area. And like, I want her to appreciate like traveling and seeing different things and getting different perceptions of different areas of the world. I love that idea of just like being a backpacker, like in an RV or like a really awesome souped up van that you can like have like internet from, you could do your work from, and just like you could just go anywhere you want, or have a boat. But boats are to me seem kind of dangerous. Um, I would rather probably have like a big vehicle that just is big enough for me to sleep in, to shower in, to have maybe some bikes inside of, and like have all our clothes and everything. There is obviously risk with that. You know, people can steal, they can rob you a little bit easier than a house. Um, Security is probably something that most people have to think about. I don't know that lifestyle. I've only talked to maybe a couple people that have done it before in their life, but they love it. They enjoy it. And when I watch a lot of YouTubers that do that kind of lifestyle, and they love it as well. I haven't met anyone yet that has a family that's like husband, wife, and a kid doing it. But I mean, I don't see why you couldn't do that homeschooling. But so yeah, that's just the addressing that. The next thing I want to talk about is I saw Instagram post from someone that I could clearly tell was probably what's up, Lightstorm? How you doing? So thank you for tuning in, by the way. I saw a Instagram post from someone. That's what this page you're seeing right now. Of someone that was claiming that 94% of, like, the CDC recently like on like didn't disclose that they had changed their parameters, and that they claimed that only 6% of the total deaths of people that had COVID-19 actually died specifically from COVID-19, and that everyone else died from other things, but they just had traces of COVID-19. 100%, 9K people. Oh, okay. So Lightstorm, you probably know where I'm going with this. So this was updated. This the CDC's website. So this is the CDC's website. Updated August 26, 2020. I was actually interested to see this. So on here, this shows a graph since the beginning that they were keeping track of this information. They have it broken down pretty much by almost every metric. Like outside of this, like I can go. I think it's here. Yeah, so I can go here and break it down to I forget what kind of graph this is. A table chart, excuse me. There's a line graph, and then if you go down, there's like other things that you could research as well, like nationalities and things of that nature, regions, states, and things of that nature. But I just want to address this part real quick. So I have it under all sexes. This is from the beginning of time that they were keeping track of it. As you can see, like this is like the worst time period right here. This is probably when like New York City had it pretty bad, and Florida was starting to get it as well, in California. But this is like when New York had it the worst. And you can see, obviously, it's broken down by age groups. The top number right here is the oldest group. Below that, and it kind of goes down. It follows the metric of like the older you are, the higher mortality rate. But one of the things I found interesting, and this kind of leans on, I work at the Mayo Clinic here in Minnesota, so the amount of false news is equal with my education. I can't wrap my head around it. Oh, wow. Hey, Lightstorm, are you available to talk on Discord at the moment? I would actually love to talk to you about this if you are. If not, no worries. But that's awesome. I did not know that. But when you look at this though, they have it broken down to like total deaths, and total deaths is just a huge number of people here. And this is not daily, weekly amount of deaths. So this isn't like the total amount since the beginning of February. Every one of these metric points is the weekly total amounts. And obviously, again, it follows pretty much the same demographic of age groups. You can see that it's trending down, which is actually one of the great things to see. Depends on what you wanted to talk about. I have some NDAs. We could talk in general. Like, I'm not going to bring up anything that you can't discuss. I definitely am going to respect your NDAs. I've put people on and been a victim of many of NDAs. So trust me, I know how that works. So if you're open to it, for sure, I'll share the Discord link to you. Let's see here. Let me make sure. Let's do my old Discord. I'll send it to you privately in a whisper. I don't know if you can, if that takes you in. I have your old one. Okay, cool. If you have my old one, then yeah, definitely come in. If you can't come into that specific channel, then I'll just drag you into it. What's up, man?
What's up, bro? Long time no see.
I know, right? How's it going, man?
Yeah,
Thanks
it's been a minute.
coming in, man. That's awesome.
Hold on, I gotta mute your stream.
All right.
So what's going on here? What are you doing?
Podcasting now, man. Life's changed. This is kind of the thing that I want to do, but I've had a podcast I've been doing for about 3 months now, daily. And I told myself that on Sundays now, I kind of want to try out doing like live podcasting where I just kind of chit chat, talk about different things, similar to how I normally do my podcast already, but just kind of involving a community of people that are interested in what I'm talking about at the moment. So,
Okay. That's
yeah.
very cool, man. Very cool. Congratulations on that. Life's
Thanks,
definitely
man.
changing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this pandemic has just been a super interesting thing, to say the least.
It's been really scary from the point of view where I'm standing. It's been terrifying,
Ok
if I'm going to be honest.
okay, cool. Can you discuss like what makes it terrifying?
Right now, I think it's the how should I say this? So, majority of the people that I talk to at work, I have a board seat and like we talk and we just casually go through, just a normal meeting, what any normal meeting would be. And the biggest concern is when are people going to start taking it as serious as we do? And when are people going to start realizing that it's not just a joke? And when we have 2,700 people on one shift currently just working on COVID cases and with blood spinning and antibody tests and with whew, dude, man, this is weird. I haven't talked about this stuff with anybody outside of work. Very
Ha-
weird.
Can you do you mind doing me a favor? I forgot I didn't
Yeah,
realize I was doing something. I forgot to do something. Let me hold that thought for just a second, please.
yeah, absolutely.
Can you still hear me? Okay, then I need to let me just No, no, no. You're on a good mic. I'm trying to make sure that my device that I use for recording. So like I'm recording, or Twitch is recording, and I'm gonna upload this on YouTube. But the platform that I'm using to upload to like my podcast platform is not recording your end, and I just don't want to miss any of this stuff. If you're cool, let me try to figure out like what's going on with that at the moment. Okay. Yeah, hey, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So actually it's not going to record your end of things then. It's still just going to be recording my voice. So with the pandemic and the way it's kind of working out. So what do you specifically do for the Mayo Clinic if you don't mind me asking? How long have you been with the Mayo Clinic? Gotcha. Gotcha. Um, wow, that is pretty interesting, man. I did not know this information. I would love like set up a time and maybe talk a little bit more in detail about like things that you already like predetermined that you can talk about. I don't want to put you in a position. I want to ask like a lot of questions, but I feel like if I do, it's going to be putting you in a position where you're going to want to not really involve so much of yourself in it because of the fact that, you know, the position of work that you're in at the moment. But
blurt out my first opinion or my first. Oh, I got reverb now. My first. I can't just talk off of my ass. Basically, you know,
yeah,
I
no.
have to really be smart and tactful and tasteful for what I do and what I say. And like I said, like this would literally be the first time. Thank God nobody knows my real name. This is the first time ever my voice is matched with like my online name, you know, so outside of my own control. So it's
Yeah.
very weird for me, but I mean, I'll be more than willing to gather some information and talk, and you know, I'm down to answer just like little questions of what I can personally see what's going on in my town with one of the largest hospitals and with this huge other side movement of Black Lives Matter, because dude, it really comes together. And I don't know how much you want to hit on that, but um, those two things right now are really big hot subjects, and if we aren't careful with what we say, it can really hurt us in the long run,
Yeah, of
you know.
course. Um,
So
are
I'd
your
be willing.
thoughts that right now as we see a downward turn, which is great ultimately. I know what they were saying on this website as well is that there's a delay on the reporting on some things. So
So the reporting that my understanding from what I've read and multiple sources, including my own, with the numbers declining, I have a strong suspicion that people in the Midwest are kind of like, oh, it's wintertime, it's going to go away. And, you know, wintertime is naturally in our world like a rebreathing time to really grow on yourself and really survive the winter. You know, that's our human instinct to do that. And I feel like with those human instincts, I feel like now people are just, oh, winter's coming, it's going to go away, it's not going to be a big deal. And I think that's completely the opposite. I think the longer we keep these kids in our schools, uh, I think right now we're going to see a big jump in what I would like to say a really big problem. I think we're going to see kids between the ages of 6 and 11 get really sick and really hurt. And right now, we're only seeing like 2,000 cases of people that are in the ages of like 24 and 26, I think, or something like that. There's only like 2,000 people, and it's going down, but I have a strong feeling and strong suspicion it's going to go up
do,
for cases. Now, deaths is it's a different story. We don't really um oh, can I? Yeah. So like the numbers that I read often aren't directly the numbers that I have
gotcha.
or what I've
Can we
seen.
discuss like what I'm looking at? Is that something more that you can with like an open mind or like without
Yeah,
really?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Um, so I'm seeing like, for instance, in well, I guess we'll go like to current, like I guess the last
you
3
should go
months.
you should go within actually a better parameter would be to like maybe do it for this last month, right?
Gotcha.
So take our last month, take the highest peak of month, and take the beginning. That way we can come up with a number that we can maybe guesstimate of what could be right and what couldn't. That's the best thing I can say about these types of charts, because the charts that you're looking at now, you see an increase on like 518 through 425 or 418, I'm sorry, 820 to 25. You're looking at the highest numbers possible that we've had in the United States. Well, why did those happen? Why did those deaths happen? Right? What's deaths were recorded to be truly a COVID incident? That's a big thing. Even doctors are having problems determining, like, oh, I don't, I mean, we were exactly caught off guard by this and we didn't know exactly what to do. And I think a lot of people took numbers out of a hat and said, you know what? We're going to get a little bit more funding, and I shouldn't be saying that, but we're going to get a little bit more funding. We're going to get a little bit more praise. We're going to get, you know, a little something kickback later. I think that's a huge market that a lot of people don't really think about. I think they dismiss it.
Is
The
it true?
pharmaceutical.
Is it true that hospitals get a financial incentive currently if they dock a passing or someone that's infected with COVID? Do they get a financial incentive to treat and dispose of individuals that are
um,
COVID positive
you
or marked as
know, I'm gonna
COVID as a main cause of death?
right. So I'm gonna just crack open a beer on this one. Um, I cannot deny or confirm. You know,
Gotcha.
so uh, do now. If you ask my personal opinion, uh, absolutely. Um,
Is that what we're seeing here with the total deaths and the COVID-19 deaths? Is that what that?
I I believe so. Yes. If you had to ask me, a friend sitting next to each other having a beer and asking me, um, yeah, I really do believe that. Um, but I'm not too far from thinking some things are um, skeptical. I feel that as Americans, we are supposed to be skeptical of our government and the people that, you know, make trillions of dollars a year off of death. I think it's our duty as Americans and humans to always say, I wonder if these numbers are true. You know, that's like the age old question of, are ballots always true? And we're going through that now. We're going through so much right now, and it's hard for our brains to get that all wrapped around. And I feel like a lot of these numbers that we're seeing are false,
Are you
in
if you're
my
a healthy
opinion.
individual? So it's so what I'm trying to ultimately get to is that being a healthy individual, are you really supposed to stress that you have COVID? Not to talk about like, should you stay indoors? Should you, social
Ex-
distance and not, reassure other people that you're not going to infect them. But let's assume that you get it and you're healthy and you do what you're supposed to do, like stay indoors and everything of that nature. Is it
After 14 days?
well, I've even heard that 14 days is not even long enough, and I know
No,
someone
22
personally.
days.
Yeah, I know someone personally that was still showing traces of COVID-19. Even past the 14 days.
Correct.
Um,
So I've also heard that. I have a few friends that are okay. So I have one friend that he he actually works in the morgue. She's a wonderful woman. She works in the morgue of the Mayo Clinic. So I often get to ask very journalistic questions to her of what she's seeing and what nature of people are coming in with this said disease and whatnot. And she tells me, she's like, she's seeing people that are 26 years old, healthy, you know.
yeah.
They're string beans. They're all got muscle to them. They've all been football players. They've all been basketball players. It doesn't matter. There's no there's no mask for this. They COVID has no doesn't care who you are, you know. And I feel that personally, from what I hear from other people, that healthy is a very loose term. because what you're considered healthy is very different than what the book standard is to what COVID is being outlined with, right?
Yeah.
The outlining of the COVID book is very loosely written. It's very poorly written, and it was done under Fauci that he always hasn't. He's been there when it counted, but from the outside looking in, he's very off on his way of thinking about whole. He kind of just wants his rule over things, and from what I've gathered from friends and talking that are doctors, some of them are doctors, some of them are nurses, um, that they believe that this is a lot more serious than anybody's saying.
Oh
And
wow, really?
yeah, I also feel that I live in a state where they really have to. I can get in a lot of trouble for saying this. The Mayo Clinic runs the city of Rochester. Um, Anybody that's lived here knows that. Um, there is a. I don't want to get into conspiracy because that's not what we're here for. But there's a huge group of people that live in this town that really believe that they make their own rules and they don't abide by anybody's because they make the money. They are the ones that keep people alive. They are building everything they can to make the Mayo Clinic larger and bigger to hold more people. They started breaking ground 2 days after COVID, when it got really big. 2 days after that, they started building a new hospital wing.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, and that happened overnight, basically overnight. They got approval and they said, hey, you know what? We got $20 million. We're going to let it rip, let her eat. And now they're building a larger portion and a nicer portion of a hospital. Our resource center is going to be huge.
How is COVID-19 in Minnesota? Is it
Um,
trending
I'll be honest
good?
with you. I will be completely honest with you. I really don't think it's too bad. I think we're sitting at like 64,000 cases, and I think there's been like 2,000 deaths.
You're close,
Um,
yeah.
uh,
I'm looking at
I believe I
this
don't.
is
I don't even have your
Google.
stream up right now. I
Oh
actually
yeah.
have some
No
notes that I'm
worries.
taking.
um
Uh,
Google is saying Minnesota total cases 75 238 and deaths 1865. So you were like right there pretty much.
yeah. So, I mean, so up towards northern parts of Minnesota, you're really not going to get a huge um, population growth of a COVID, incident happening, just because it's so damn remote. And you got to understand our main. If there was an age bracket that I could think of, there were probably God, 45 to 80 probably rules more than there are 20-year-olds.
So more vulnerable for sure.
More vulnerable, but they
Stay
stay
there.
inside
Yeah.
and they don't leave, and their kids or their grandkids are helping them. I feel like Minnesota's did a really good job of keeping cases low, but you can look up right now. I brought your stream back up. You can look up in Mankato, Minnesota. There was a group of teachers that recently went out to a bar just to go have fun, let some steam go, right? And they ended up having to shut down the school because of these four teachers.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, anybody can get it. And I feel like Minnesota's done a really good job of having, you know, 75 to like 50 cases a day in some counties. I feel like that's pretty cool. Some counties only have like 25 over the whole period, you know,
Yeah.
with zero deaths. There's been a large area of Minnesota that I don't feel had as many deaths as they said there were, you know, because it's a lot. They're saying almost 2,000 deaths, but on the news you're not really hearing the same number, you know.
Minnesota, I didn't realize it was that many. I mean, obviously, I felt like maybe after the Black Lives Matter movement and
Yes.
the
Yeah.
economics
So
opening up as well, with like states being kind of forced to reopen up the economics of industry. I felt like, obviously that accelerated. That's that
so
hub that we were looking at before. This
yeah.
what was that?
So
This like between July, early July to early this month.
you know, I will say, this month I've heard nothing but good things from people in the community about what's going on. I've heard nothing but good things since the schools have opened ish. Um, you know, I feel like people are doing their part now, and that's why numbers are going down. People aren't sitting on the Mississippi River partying like they were in May and April.
Yeah.
I think people have taken a moment to go, you know what? All right, maybe this shit is real. You know, you know, I know a guy that knows a guy that got it. Oh well, how do you know that guy? Well, I've gone camping with him 2 months ago. Oh, now he's got COVID. I feel like people now are saying, oh, I better just stay home and relax.
I really, man, it's a difficult position to be in, because I had assumed when I first saw these cases going up, the idea that I was thinking was that this before, like I learned a lot over the course of just like this pandemic, was that there was only three or four outcomes to this. Either A, so many stupid people are going to be out there getting infected that we're talking about a lot of people to create herd immunity. Because I know the numbers have to be like 1 in 4 or 1 out of 5 people have to have antibodies to it. But now you're seeing studies that are showing that there's a possible reinfection rate to it, that it's something similar to the common cold almost, where just because you've developed antibodies for it, those antibodies aren't capable of fighting
It's a
the
flu.
yeah. Well, it's
This is a
evolving too,
flu.
right? It's constantly
Yes.
evolving too.
So this.
It might be
Hold
something
on.
that lives with us, right? For
Yeah. Let me look something up real quick. Make sure I can.
yeah. So what current me is thinking now is that I'm hoping that the disease kind of evolves to be something like the common cold, where eventually it evolves in a way that it prioritizes infection rates, but doesn't fixate so much on giving people like pneumonia and damaging their lungs and all of these other aspects and extreme inflammation, because inflammation is like big with COVID, right?
Inflammation is big. Really hard. Like assisted breathing is where you're going. You're really struggling for air. Um, so go back to just rewind like a minute. What was the last part you said about the numbers
Um,
decreasing and having pneumonia?
So I was saying that there was I didn't even finish the thought, but I was saying that initially when the pandemic first started, that I was thinking that there was only a few ways that this really was going to die off. One was that herd immunity was going to be a thing, but for that to happen, I think the numbers are like 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 people have to have developed antibodies to that.
Anybody's correct. Yep.
But that would have been in the course of like a disease, like not like the common cold, where it was a disease where essentially your body develops antibodies that kind of live with you, and the disease itself doesn't really evolve. Um, but that's not the case now, and so herd immunity is probably something that's not even going to be a thing. It might tackle the eradication of it, but you would require such a spike of infection rates, and then
Our numbers would have to double
yeah,
in
it would have to
order
be
for that to
ridiculous.
happen.
Yeah, it would have to
Yes.
be super ridiculous for that to. So, in all likelihood, that would be devastating to the hospital system. You would have
There wouldn't be enough hospital employees. There wouldn't be enough ventilators in the United States, I don't believe,
yeah, you would have
to
so
even.
much death, so much
Yeah,
death.
it would be very bad. And
But then the vaccine is also a thing. So, like, this is where I'm getting to, is that I don't see an end to this disease unless there is some kind of viral medication that really targets either replication. I don't know if CRISPR technology, if people are working on something as extreme as gene editing to see if there's a way to develop
I,
like
I
to wire antibodies in a way to kind of target just the CRISPR genetics, or I mean, honestly, because if herd immunity is not a thing, I don't really trust vaccines that are being accelerated in such a way.
correct. I feel like vaccines are being very pushed.
And I don't like the idea that people are going to be just putting, like, I'm not for the conspiracy of being an anti-vaxxer. I've never been for that. Like, I've always taken all my vaccines. My daughter, who I recently had, has had all her vaccines done when they needed to be done. But those are vaccines that have gone through multiple years of studies, and
You got to vaccine your kids, man. That's
yeah,
like number one. People
yeah,
that don't do that are honestly very uneducated in what life is.
yeah.
Um, those people can go eat trees the rest of their life, and I don't care. You know.
Yeah.
Uh, but you know, I
But a vaccine that comes out in less than a year, that is scary.
yeah, it's very scary. It's very dare I say Naziistic.
It's
Um,
reckless. I feel like it's super
it's yeah,
reckless.
it's very reckless. It's very. I feel like there's so much things that aren't being let out about this vaccine. We should have every single abled body that can even comprehend what this COVID situation is. Like, I'm talking taking every brighted mind to say, you know what, we're going to take 2 years, okay, and we're going to study this, and we're going to do this every day. They need to run it like NASA, in my opinion. They need to say, you know what, there's a team of 100 doing this, there's a team of 100 doing this, and then they take the worst cases that are alive right this moment and start them on a vaccine and have that go for another 6 months
Yeah.
and see how they see what happens through a trial of very very harsh, I'm sure, um, medicine. I don't even want to call it medicine because it's I don't.
Yeah,
This
like
is where my work.
I don't even know
Yeah,
where, but
yeah.
like ultimately the point I'm getting to is like I don't know how it ends though, because like
I
ultimately
don't think we're going to see an end.
that's scary though, because like you then have to talk about like out the bigger picture of things. Above this is the economics of things, like and families. Sadly, we live in such a capitalistic society, and you know, people are trying to just survive in general. Like most people don't have a means to have a savings, or because life is just that difficult for them at the moment.
Yeah.
And now you compound that with having kids, and these kids possibly not having the ability to go to school. You have to take the time off from not working to be able to sustain that. I mean, the only way I really could perceive us surviving is this country taking on massive amount of debt, like in numbers far greater than, you know, what was passed legislatively in recent time, which most people would argue wasn't even enough, and clearly it wasn't, because I mean you have people uh it makes you wonder what economics are going to be like in America. It makes you wonder, like, are we going to see something even worse than the financial crisis of 2008, which was a super devastating time period? Like, and if so, like, what does that mean ultimately for people? And I think that the sad thing is that we're in a country where, you know, your insurance is tied to your employment.
Mhm.
If you don't, if you're not working, you might qualify for Medicaid, and but states only have so much funds allocated for so many
They
people.
have most have none.
Yeah. And so like
So
you need the federal government to subsidize that stuff, which is even more debt.
with you bringing up that, this world that we live in is is very. Our world does not go around unless we have debt. This world we live in is being funded by debt. Um, if you really break down what financially what's going on, we have a value of $1 that is worth nothing. anymore. It's worth nothing.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's a piece of
and
paper. I mean,
the
ultimately.
banks are held in gain by debt. Health insurance companies are built off of debt, right? So buying a car is the same thing. Everything that if you look at the world as a debt figure instead of a money, this is what it's worth of hard value. The only thing we do that is with gold, right? And we don't even know how much of that we have. We as human beings and of normal population of income and education, we know nothing of how much gold we have or whatever. So our value of the dollar, when we talk about that, I, I don't really see a point in really caring of what I know. It's scary to like wrap your hand around that. What's the point of caring about money when our money already means absolutely nothing,
Well, I think
right?
ultimately, so the you're right to a degree. So like economics is actually what I studied.
Okay.
So you're the argument that debt really doesn't matter is true when there's economic growth tied towards the debt. So the moment we started borrowing, we already failed. The system
Who?
already failed itself. So when the moment you borrowed, that means you owed money, and you owe with interest always on all money borrowed. So the first dollar borrowed, even when it was paid back, required additional money to be paid towards that just
Mhm.
didn't exist. So the system of debt, and it's gonna continue on until the country goes bankrupt. And what that means ultimately is a lack of confidence in the monetary system that you use. Um, but that's
Our
the
system isn't working.
no, it's not. The crazy thing though is that like we know that we're amassing this debt, but it doesn't really matter to the average citizen because they still feel that the dollar that they have in their hand is has
Of
monetary
value.
value to it. Yeah, has
Hmm.
monetary value to it. And it's can be used as a means to value what your time is worth. The moment that confidence is lost, though, that's when the system collapses. And I think the total number of debt doesn't really matter. It's more the how much that debt affects my mental thought process of like, is my money worth anything anymore?
Yeah. So we're actually like we're pretty like spot on with how like we're both. I think the same thing like what you're saying. I'm not very good at putting words out there. I'm more of a you explain something to me and I'll put it into the normal man terms where other people can I can understand smart people to dumb it down for stupid people. I know that's terrible to
That's a great
say.
quality to have, to be honest.
It's a really good quality, but it's also very demanding. It's very controversial and it's very like sneaky and it's very like it's a hard thing to really stomach sometimes because I'm like one of those guys that pride myself on being an asshole and being like I'm just going to tell you what I think and how I think maybe things can be better or what have done to make my life good, or happy, that right now other people just dismiss it because it's a new idea, right?
Yeah. I think that's one of the means as to why social media has blown up in such a way is because it's
Ugh, don't even get started on that.
yeah, I know. Though I mean ultimately if you got fixated on current events and that's all you heard, life would probably look a lot darker than it
Yeah,
really
very dark.
does,
Yeah, yeah, very dark.
compared to like the silly TikTokers lifestyle and Instagrammers. I mean, it's really a means to really block out just what life.
Really is. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
honestly,
like
like seeing the
I'm
bigger
that
picture of
guy.
things.
I'm that guy that's like, hey, you know what? It's fucking raining outside and you don't have an umbrella. Why don't you have an umbrella? And they're like, they'll need one. Like those people to me are what we need more of because they're like they're just living their life the way they want to. And like, I feel like the people that kind of go against the grain a tiny bit are the people that are like, you know what? All right. They're the ones that are going to come ahead of everything. in all this. With I feel like those are the people that aren't going to the dark side. Those are the people that are going to hold up the United States and hold up even as small as every county. You get a group of people that you know hold some true values of telling people how it is or what's real in the world, and with all this fake news and fake feelings of feeling what the internet's telling you instead of what really uh, our bodies are really capable of understanding, and what how powerful our brains are. I feel like people with technology and social media, people don't realize that they have their own brain to use, and they have their own. Everybody has a voice, so use it. And if you do not want to use it and stay on social media, and I'm not saying social media is a bad thing. Obviously, I'm sitting here on Twitch, and I'm on Twitch all the time. I'm on Twitter all the time. And I don't frown upon it, but I do feel really bad for the people that just go, oh, you know what? I've had Facebook since the day it came out, and I always throw all my troubles on there, and they wonder why they get nothing but uh in their life.
Yeah.
They don't ever think outside the box. They really, you know, maybe we can blame education, but I don't think that is it. Maybe we can blame poor income families. Maybe we can blame abusive parents for this. And I think people now need to dig deep and say, I'm going to have my own thought. I'm going to put my phone down for 4 hours a day. When's the last time I'm asking you personally, when's the last time you went out with your wife and you sat at a table and you didn't touch your phone or take a picture of your meal
Oh
or
yeah.
leave it in the car? Never.
I think the issue really stemmed from the individualism, the idea. So it's such a difficult thing to really wrap myself around, because it's a double-bladed sword. So as society has moved forward, the weight of an individual's thoughts and words has become more weighted than it's ever been before in the history of man. Like, a complete stranger can post something crazy on Twitter about it, like a product or service, and that company needs to respond, because if not, it could become a big clusterfuck for that company, right?
Right. Yeah.
Um, so you as the individual really have a lot more say now so than ever before. And I think the focus in appreciating that level of power and the level of influence that you have for a lot of people is something that they
Sorry about
just,
that.
yeah, no worries, that they're not normally used to. And it's strengthening, like, this idea that you matter, that your individual approach to things is important, is a great thing. But on the other side of things, it also develops a mindset of narcissism, and the idea that, and eventually what's deteriorating this country and the world, honestly, I feel like, is the idea that my time's more valuable than your time. And so my, like, hey world, look at me. Like, my podcast is a perfect example of that. Like, I'm hoping that more people listen to me more than someone else, or because I want this to grow and evolve, and I want more people to hear my thoughts. But ultimately, what is the meaning behind that? What is the point of that? Um, it is I don't know ultimately, but I know that it feels empowering to have a system like that and a platform like that. But at the same time, I try as much as I can to also be appreciative of community and people, and I've always had an internalized philosophy that, my happiness will never be a derivative of someone else's um
Pain.
displeasure, or, yeah, and
Hmm.
pain. And so, like, if I could do something myself and it only affects me, and or like if it involves other people and but it doesn't negatively influence them, then that's a choice I need to make, and that's a good choice to take in life. But
I think that's a very noble and like manly way to think.
but at the
And
same time, though, it's not a perfect system as well, because there are
leaves you
certain,
vulnerable.
yeah, well, and there's certain things that you do want in life that no matter what, there's opportunity costs that you're just not willing to take. And to be 100% congruent with that idea is something I wish I could be, but we're all humans. We all make mistakes. And so there are times that you do put yourself ahead of another person, because you
to
feel
get
like,
yours.
yeah, because you feel like
Yeah.
that it's going to give you a better platform to then, like, you internalize the justification is that, like, if I get ahead, then I can spread this message that I want to spread. But ultimately, like, you're still breaking the philosophy that you have to try to put yourself ahead sometimes.
Yeah,
And you try to
you're
wait at it.
always conflicted.
Yeah.
Yeah. You weigh people that think that way. From outside looking in, I'm very optimistic. I'm very optimistic. Very. I will give my shirt to anyone. I don't care if my gut's hanging out and everybody can see. Like, I am the type of guy that if you call me and you say, "Hey, man, you told me you're going to be here," I'm going to show up. Like, I kind of lost where I'm going with that because I'm reading some stuff right now.
You're
I have
good.
somebody. I have a friend in here that keeps coming in and out, and he's messaging me, and he's just kind of he's hitting some points that him and I are very similar, and um, he's a lot smarter than me, and he he's just telling me to be careful with what I say.
Yeah.
Is all.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, man. I'm
I'm the
this
same
caught me
way.
off guard tonight. This caught me, and it's hitting me now. It caught me off guard tonight. This is super fun and super cool, and I hope when I'm haven't had 5 beers, we can actually talk more on an educated level and not have ran together sentences and me cutting you off. I'm sorry for that.
Oh, you're good, man. It's
Um, but
conversations are great.
with what you're saying is everybody everybody takes a little notch off themselves of their morals and standards to one up somebody. And sometimes it's very painful. Like you were explaining, sometimes you have to step over the guy that's laying down to get ahead and get people to be on your platform or get your voice heard. And I don't feel, if you do it the right way, I don't feel it's malicious or wrong
Yeah.
towards your idealistic way of living your life. I think what you said was like very valid, and I don't think you should look at it as in a bad way. I think you should look at it as like, hey, like I did step over this guy, but who knows? Maybe this guy will come work for me one day, and I'm breaking it down to like the smallest what ifs,
Yeah.
just to make it easier to understand. But like you could step over me today, and I could leave and come back in a month, and this podcast could have 30,000 people in it. We don't know, and if it took you stepping over a bunch of hurdles and you can live with those hurdles that you've jumped over, I think that's a very good way to live your life. And I think a lot of people have lost that way.
Yeah.
And
Because they allowed so much of their direct happiness to come as a derivative of others, which I think is one of the downsides of social media. It's one of the things about it, because that platform
OnlyFans.
could yeah. Um, I think if that could be desires. If you're able to gauge your desires, I have an ultimate problem with something like a platform like OnlyFans. No, I personally know a lot of people that are on that platform.
I as well do.
Yeah,
Um,
and I personally will never go on something like that. I mean, clearly.
what you mean? I thought you and I were gonna hook up and do some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Make a few dollars.
But hey, what's up,
What's
Alex?
up,
How you doing,
A-Rod?
man?
Dude, I haven't played with you guys in a minute.
Yeah.
Um,
But like ultimately, I think that I understand why they do that, especially during a crisis like right now. Like, I can respect if that's your only means right now to get the income that you need to survive. Then, I know a lot of people here in Las
make your
Vegas.
buck.
Yeah, well, Las Vegas has been hit pretty hard from this
Yeah, so
pandemic. So
I know I've known obviously people that are listening don't know I've known you for 2 years. We met playing a wonderful video game, and we've had good times. And I know that you live in Vegas. I also own a home in Boulder City, as you know,
yeah,
and I was just recently there. and I was there Mother's Day until, oh man, I don't remember. I think I stayed for a month, and I went downtown, man, and it was nobody. Like the pictures that I have, you could you could play like football downtown Vegas
Yeah.
on the strip,
Oh yeah.
and it's
It's so
yeah, it's
weird.
wild. This
It's
whole thing is very weird.
it's so weird just like how this entire but like yeah, this city's been it's been super devastated. I start off this podcast. A friend of mine asked me today on Facebook what my thought like a year ago I claimed that I'm never going to be owning property. And so he wanted to just out of nowhere. He was like, "Hey, I'm just curious if your philosophy is still like you don't want to own, like you just want to rent." And I actually appreciate my decision to not own because there was a moment in my life where I got furloughed. My wife works from home, but I got
Mhm.
furloughed, and my her income alone cannot pay for like all our needs. And luckily, we had money saved up. But there was a moment for like a month after I got furloughed, I was like, man, I wonder really how bad it's going to be here in Las Vegas. Am I ever going to be able to get anything? And like, do we start thinking about damage control and like reaching out to my family and telling them like, hey, if it doesn't work out here, like, can we stay with you guys for a little bit until like this whole
Yeah,
kind of blows over? And I like to be a person that is always prepared. Like, I don't like to be the person that just wastes the last minute
sits
of life.
around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so, but I also did not want to be put in a position where if I worked, I had to leave the house and be out risking myself getting COVID-19 because I've taken this pandemic very serious, very, very serious. Like in
I did
March,
not.
you didn't? I did.
No, so I'll be honest with you.
I haven't left my house
I'm
like except for 4 times.
Oh no, dude.
Seriously, four
So
times,
so let me tell
since
you.
March.
Wow. So
Yeah,
I flew from Minnesota to Las Vegas on May 4th. There was 12 people on my flight. 12. And we all were spaced out.
that was the
Everybody had to
best
wear
time
a
to fly,
mask.
to be honest, because now it's
Oh,
not like
dude, let me
that.
tell you. Oh, let me tell you. It's wonderful. If you're willing to risk it, I know a lot of people frown upon it.
Well,
If you're
it's not
willing to
like
risk
that
it,
anymore. Like now they're packed.
it's
Now,
yeah, oh, yeah, they're packed. Yeah,
yeah, now they're
packed.
packed. The way you did it
But
was like honestly the best time to have traveled.
yeah, I got very lucky. But dude, let me tell you, there's something very ominous and something very scary about being on a plane with only 10 to 12 people. I think there was 12 people plus the pilots.
Yeah,
So like
that's
I'll have
crazy.
to send you some pictures of like my flight and the airport because it's very ominous, very weird, and like I really remember this one specific guy. He All the machines were quarantined off. You couldn't play, you couldn't do any of that, and this guy had no mask on, drinking a beer, smoking a cigarette, and playing on a slot machine in a non-designated area that's closed.
Yeah.
And nobody had the balls to go over there and tell him, put that shit out, put a fucking mask on. If you don't have one, take one. Right? Nobody had the balls to do that. And it blew my mind that that was acceptable then and it's still acceptable now.
Oh yeah.
And going through all of the airport stuff, it really made me like realize that people do value their lives and people do value the people around them. Right? And I feel
There's just those ones. There's just like
yeah,
a
I feel like
minority of
there's
people
just
that just
there's
don't.
one there's that one bad egg that really ruins it for everybody.
Yep.
And it really made me feel uncomfortable. And I don't. Getting back to with you furloughed, did you work for in the gaming
No. So
lifestyle
I
or
So I left. So I was working at. I think when we first met, I was working as a nightclub host. Left
okay.
that.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember now. Yes.
So was doing that. I left that a year and a half ago, and was working in the cannabis space actually. And so I was helped launch a massive a big cannabis brand. It was actually the first alcohol company to get into cannabis. If anything, I think we're not in Minnesota, but the alcohol Fireball. I know Fireball is big in
Yes.
Minnesota.
Yes.
And so Fireball whiskey came out with a cannabis product, a cannabis gummies, and so
Oh,
we
I did not
launched
know
them out
that.
here in Nevada. and one of my good friends is actually one of the partners. And so I was working with him. And unfortunately, when the pandemic had hit, it forced a lot of dispensaries to really shut the doors to anyone outside of customers. And so it really impacted a lot of business for us. Sales went down pretty bad. And so, unfortunately, but understandably, the company had to make a decision to furlough people, and I was there. And very recently, I was asked if I wanted to come back to work, but no, because now I do something completely different. I was able to, in the last 3 months, land a job position where now I can work from home, make great money, make great residuals, not selling a product I don't believe in. And so now
That's
I'm
cool.
doing Medicare sales. So the last honestly, I would have never, if you would have asked me last year, did you ever think you were going to be doing something like you're doing now? The answer would have been no.
No, right.
I completely enjoyed, selling cannabis products and being involved in that industry. And I've
Did
totally
you work at the Grove?
no. So
Okay.
I didn't work at a specific dispensary. I worked in marketing and making sure that
Okay.
yeah, so I made sure that these dispensaries had the cannabis product, like our cannabis products there, and help educate like the staff and customers on the product. And it was a great job position. A lot of marijuana in my life.
Yeah, same, dude, same.
Yeah. But ultimately, when I had my daughter, I stopped doing. I had her in December. And so I told myself I'm going to be sober as a parent, and so I actually haven't touched a product since. So the idea that
No
I
edibles, no nothing?
nothing, yeah, no alcohol,
No
no nothing,
CBD?
no nothing, yeah, it's crazy.
Wow,
No
dude,
nothing.
that's insane. That's
Yeah,
that's really good because
This is
2
the
years
longest
ago,
I've
dude.
gone sober my entire since I've been 18 probably. This is the longest I've been sober. It's crazy. It's the weirdest thing ever because my lifestyle
Yeah.
was completely opposite of that. But
So I have to. I gotta go check on my barbecue here in a minute, but I want to leave you. I don't have to get off. I would like to get another beer and go check my barbecue, but
I was gonna actually end this podcast soon, anyways, man. So the
okay,
timing
that's
is
fine.
perfect. Yeah.
Well, on that note, then I would really like to get together and when I'm completely sober and get something down on a piece of paper or whatever, and I'll send some contacts back to you, and maybe I can get a few of my buddies that work at the Mayo Clinic to kind of step in and kind of say some things.
That would be great.
I
Yeah, that would be awesome
I
if we
would
could
love to do
organize something
that.
like that.
And then I also with living in I'm a West Coast boy. I grew up in Los Angeles and like Long Beach, and then I moved to Arizona. But anyway, my very close member of my family owns THC of Nevada. Um, it's right by the airport. Um, she does a lot of DME things and lots of oxygen and lots of things that COVID patients are using. And I know for a fact she would be more than willing to come in here as a respiratory therapist and let you know what she's seeing in just the town that you live in.
Okay.
Um, my aunt's super cool. Um, cool chick. I will talk to her tonight and I'll talk to her about it and see. I'll get in contact with you. And I had a good time, man. Like
Yeah,
I
man.
didn't.
Thank you
It totally
for.
caught me off guard.
Yeah,
I
well, I
came
mean,
in
like,
here
I
because I seen you
honestly
pop
today
up.
was like a demo thing. I didn't really think anyone was really gonna get involved, and I just wanted to make sure that like I had systems in place. Obviously, I learned that I didn't, and I changed that up. But yeah, man, the super awesome, man. Thank you for contributing, and it's been great to talk to you. It's been a while.
Yeah, dude, it's been a minute. It's been probably about a year since I played with you
Oh
guys
yeah, for sure,
and
man.
even talked to you guys. And my life's been busy and crazy. But I really deeply, really appreciate you having me. It's so cool. Um, and I hopefully you'll have me back. And like I said, when I'm sober and we can talk more. And um, I was a little off tonight for sure.
No,
I could
you're
feel it.
great,
But
man. You were awesome. Thank you so much.
yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it. And I really hope you stick with this and you just find everything that you're looking for in life, man. Like I'm a little bit of a hippie when it comes to that. Like
Oh,
as
me
my
too,
friends
man.
know me.
Yeah,
You
me
know,
too.
I want nothing but success for you and your family, and whatever goal you ever set yourself, I hope you accomplish it. And if you ever hard in times or whatever, just know you got a homie that happens to live in 2 different states. And if you ever need anything, I also live in Vegas 6 months out of the year. So Boulder City, you're always welcome.
Thank you,
So
man. Thank you so
um,
much.
hopefully you have me again. Thank you very much. And
Don't be a
A-Rod, you're still a
stranger, man. Hit
bitch.
me up, man. Yeah, hit me up
Yeah,
on
for sure.
Discord. Yeah, let's do this again.
All right, man. Well, you have a good night, and thank you everybody for listening and listen to my dumbass ramble on. All right,
Thanks again,
boys.
man.
Later.
Later, bro. On that note, that was awesome. That's one of the reasons why I actually enjoy gaming as an adult. A lot of younger people, actually, I that's a lie too. I've had a lot of younger people that I game with that appreciate like the ability to have older people that they can, like, if they're that type of person, that they can lean on exchanging ideas and networking and meeting people. Because one of the cool things about gaming is, just like a lot of other hobbies, is that it allows you to intermingle with people that have a common interest in what you have an interest in, but at the same time have completely different backgrounds and many different ways. And so I would have never thought that I would have had someone that has a background in one of the subjects I want to talk about today. And it was great having him on. And that's one of the reasons why I just enjoy gaming with people. And, most of the time I don't really ever ask people what they do for work as well. A lot of us use gaming as a means of escape, and don't really, the only time I really do is like if someone brings up something that sounds interesting, then I might ask them like what their professional background is. And unfortunately, I never had asked him, because I probably would have been picking his brain even before the pandemic to learn a little bit more about the medical field, because I've always been fascinated by it. But um, on that note, though, like definitely today was a big learning experience on just like how to do these live podcasts, and some mistakes I made. And so on my audio on my podcast, there's going to be a gap where you don't hear my friend talking. But that's just the things that unfortunately I'm going to have to learn to not make those same mistakes. But it did get fixed eventually, so which was great. And it was a perfect time too, because he didn't really share anything at that point when I started to record that aspect of himself. So great discussions, great conversations, and definitely looking forward to having him on to talk a little bit more in detail about COVID, because this is a subject that's on a lot of people's minds, and having people that are experts that are in the field that see these things day in, day out. These are the people we need to listen to. They're the ones that are dealing with it all the time. You shouldn't really be getting this type of news from the news, from national news organizations, because I mean, I don't even listen to national news anymore. It's so biased and so um I don't even want to use the term fake news, because it's just been politicized in such a way that it's stupid. But honestly, there's a lot of incentive and derivative interest and big news organizations. And I was actually watching a video yesterday about how, I mean, what doctors give me, and I've got to find the truth with myself. Yeah, for sure. Please, man. And please let me know a time that we can chit chat and talk. Because I would love to have you and your friends on. That would be so awesome to do something like that. Um, I'm planning on doing these live stream podcasts like every Sunday. I don't know if I'm going to be doing them at this exact same time. I actually was planning on doing them in the afternoon, but a lot of things came up in today's life that I had to deal with. And so I'm going to try to see if I could do them in the afternoon. If not, then it's going to be around this time period that I do them. But if you guys aren't even open to doing a live one, but more like a recorded platform where we're talking, for sure, that would be awesome. But this has just been an awesome experience, and I look forward to doing more of these as well. And who knows, maybe they'll evolve to just being more than one day. If I can get more and more people engaged in it, that would be great. But I'm always available. Thanks, man. That's awesome. Um, yeah, I know the time difference as well. That's why I'm trying to do them earlier. So because there's definitely people I want to talk to on the East Coast where I'm originally from, and I know just doing them so late is probably gonna hinder the amount of people that are gonna be listening to this. But Ultimately, and then the big thing too now is like, now that I know how to manage this podcast live, I can start to market it more, because I would love to market this kind of idea. Like my normal podcast I do, like I really just have been slowly growing it. I haven't really been putting a lot of work into it. It's light and fun, and you'll grow 100%, I believe. Let it flow. I totally agree. You know, not removing the whole attacking people or attacking ideas or things of that nature. I'd rather just have, that's the whole aspect of changing this to like, or the tongues out approach is just like keeping it cool, talking about subjects. If we get into like mini discussions and mini debates, I don't really have a problem with that. But I miss the, in the words of our lover Joe Rogan. Yeah, Joe Rogan for sure. That I appreciate discussion. Look, discussion is something that society needs to bring back. There should be never an issue where two individuals have two different opposing ideas. There's a lot of history there to why someone has that means of thinking that way. And we need to come back as a society where we can agree to disagree on subjects, and but have in-depth discussions. Like that's what this podcast is about. Like I'm never going to be the person that's going to say like I agree with everything that my um counterpart and my podcast is going to be saying, and I'm not going to shy away from bringing up subjects that person probably doesn't agree with. But I think it's in both of our rights to just be exposed to ideas that just aren't things that we normally are exposed to. And who knows, maybe you'll sway my perspective on things. Maybe I'll help someone sway their perspective on things. But if not, there's nothing wrong with that either. Discussions are discussions, and it should be something that we all do. This whole idea of like hating on someone because they don't see eye to eye with you, and trying to put someone in a category just because, like, I don't consider myself a liberal. I don't consider myself a conservative, but I do have certain things I agree with that liberals agree with. I have some things that I agree with that conservatives agree with. But if I like said like I'm for guns and gun ownership, that immediately puts me in the conservative side. I don't agree with that, because there's a lot of things I don't agree with their perspective as well. I don't even agree with the whole idea of conservatism, because that mean to me that means like not choosing to evolve and grow as a person. On the other side though, like I'm not for um a lot of the extremities of the liberal mindset. But I will say that I'm definitely a centrist that leans more on the left. Over as I've gotten older. But I've listened to someone on Joe Rogan recently that actually um, described the political mindset the best way. Like, you should be a communist with your family, a liberal with your community, a conservative with your statehood laws, and you should be a libertarian with the federal government. And when I heard it put that way, I was like, yeah, that's kind of like the way I see things. Like, I don't think socialism will work for everyone, because like I don't really see how a system like that can work. But like obviously you should love the people and try to give as much as possible to your community of people and your family, especially your family and your close friends. But when it starts to get into like strangers, I really don't think that like government really can generalize help for everyone, because everyone's so unique and so different. And so you can't really socialize the system like that. I do think that access to education, your eye okay? I actually have a sty. What's up, Donald? How are you doing? No, it's a sty that needs to go away. It's been one of the worst things ever. Normally, for whatever reason, I don't know. It started when I got LASIK like 6 years ago. Warren compressed, yeah. Warren compressed for sure. I saw an eye doctor last week, actually one of the very few times I left my house, because it's been like more than 2 weeks, and I got antibiotics. And so I've been putting antibiotics, definitely helped out. It was way worse than this. But like I'll get like a sty in this eye like once every other like year or so. It's just annoying. It's just something I have to deal with. It wasn't that bad. Like even the doctor told me, he was like, you didn't really need to see me. Yeah, it wasn't that bad actually. For me, it felt serious because normally my size go away after about a week. But this one, like I had for 2 weeks, and I was worried that maybe it could have evolved to be something worse. But he was telling me like just today, like on that day that I went there, he was like, on that day I had seen people with way worse conditions what you have. He was honestly like, for you, I would just recommend just doing warm compresses, and that would probably help. But he was like, that now that you're here though, I can't prescribe you an antibiotic, and so he went ahead and did that. Unholy, it definitely wasn't that as well. It could be, I'll rub my eye as well. And I don't know, just being a parent, obviously you're just exposed to more baby stuff. And so maybe that was probably what caused it, because I don't leave my house ever. And so I know it had nothing to do with like me getting it from someone else. And no, I wash my hands a lot, Alex, like a lot more than the average person. Like so much that my hands are so dry, and like it's really bad. Yeah, it's like I actually my podcast yesterday was talking about that, like how just my skin gets so dry right now from washing my hands so much that I like literally had to buy moisturizers and subscribe to like a dermatologist. And I actually have a dermatologist appointment Tuesday to go see a dermatologist because I need to get like figured out, like, a good moisturizer or whatever. I do watch before he pees. I do afterwards, Unholy. Thanks, man. I don't do it every single. I would literally wash my hands all the time, because like even like with anything to do with my daughter, like I always wash my hands before like I pick up my daughter. I'm like a clean freak around my daughter. I know I don't need to be, but I am anyways. Like anytime like I'm like fixing her bottles or preparing her food, I always wash my hands. I wash myself literally like probably more than 20 times a day. I definitely for sure know I do. And I don't put lotion on after every time I wash my hands. But I'm trying to get better about that. So like my fingertips are dry, and like that's been the most frustrating thing. So yeah, full hazy for sure. Honestly, I need to get a hazmat suit. And I know like washing my hands definitely does dry out my skin. And so that's why I know I don't really need to see a dermatologist, but it's just good to see as you get older as well. So like I need to start taking better care of myself, and I have some questions to ask them. And I subscribe to like a dermatologist on YouTube, like a really big one. And I bought a whole bunch of products that arrived today that I've tried out. I also take long showers, and I wash myself all the time. I always shampoo my hair every single day. And I know these things are like super bad. So like hygiene has been like something I take too much of an extreme on. And I need to kind of like get back away from it, especially because I don't go out a lot. Oh yeah. So this is a cute book that my wife got me for Father's Day. Um it's here, this camera, by the way, I got, you guys haven't seen yet, but I got this super awesome autofocus camera. But essentially it says like, Luna, you'll always be my little girl. Oh, it's my mohawk, yeah. My hair is definitely getting, like, I didn't want to do my hair today. Like I showered right before this podcast, and I was like, I don't want to spend like 10-15 minutes trying to do my mohawk. So I just put a hat on. But yeah, it's getting pretty long. My mohawk's getting pretty big. But yeah, it's adorable. It's like my wife customized the book. And it's just a story about me and my daughter. But yeah, it's super cute. I love it a lot. And then like my wife really couldn't customize like the um she had to pick like predetermined characters. But I mean, she landed on them pretty well. Like my daughter doesn't have long hair yet. She still has short hair. Dude, honestly, if I brushed my hair back all the way back, I could have a mullet. It's like if I like wet my hair, brush it all the way back, but the moment it dries, it just gets all crazy because like it's all like hair everywhere. Um, Thanks, Donald. Dude, I love this. Dude, check out the autofocus on this camera. This is Deadpool, right? Look at this, just insane just how quick it autofocuses and just like goes back. Like, and then the quality I'm using like less than 720p quality right now for the stream, but I'm getting an Elgato so I can get it to like 1080p 4K resolution. Dude, it looks so great on my camera, but it looks nothing like it does on stream. I promise you. Like you would notice it even better. Like my style. Can we get a cam model? Honestly, it's like I'm wasting this resource right here because I'm not, to be honest. But yeah, it's super cool. Like I got it because I wanted to use it for like more recording, like my daughter. It's the Sony ZV-1, so Z as in zebra, V as in Victor 1. It came out like a couple months ago. It's meant for vlogging, but it's a really great camera to get into like video, like filmography, and it takes phenomenal photos as well, actually. But it uses the same lens, like the same, not lens, but it uses the same. I'm forgetting the term. I'm not big in photography, but I'm learning more about it. It uses the same. It uses the same technology as like the Sony A6000 series, which is like the mirrorless cameras. Oh, dude, I've had the ROG phone. Where is it? This is it right here with the shitty case. But let me take the case off of it. But you'll notice, like I cracked the front end of the screen, but I've had it for a while now. I actually just sent back the Samsung phone. I got the Samsung Note Ultra, the newest one. But yeah, like this is the Asus phone with the blinking back screen with the dirt on it. But yeah, I cracked the screen right there on the top right here. But it's not bad. But this phone is awesome. I actually returned the Sony phone because I was like, I don't need that. Like I still love this phone. I've had it for a year now. And it just goes with like all the Asus theme stuff that I have as well. Yeah, Unholy. Literally, if you listen to my or go on my YouTube channel, literally I don't really show the phone so much, but yeah, I literally sent it back yesterday. I dropped it off in a FedEx box. I had it for like a week. I just wasn't impressed with the camera. I initially got it because I wanted to get more into filmography and photography and taking like good photos and videos of my daughter. And I really thought that the camera system was going to be like the best of the best. It was sold that way on YouTube. I watched a million reviews. I also, like with my line of work that I do nowadays, could have used a lot of the features on the Note. But for a $1,300 phone, I was not impressed, to be honest. It was a great phone, but for $1,300, it just wasn't worth it. It was like it's the only cell phone I've ever returned, and I've owned a ton of different phones. Their phones are like my thing, but yeah, it just wasn't worth it for me. For other people, I would have rather spent. And so what I took that money and I put it towards this camera that I have. So and I'm super glad that I did because I'm okay with my phone. My phone's great. It's still like one of the best Android phones out there. And really, they came out with the ROG Phone 3. I think it's the newest one. They just announced like a month ago. And really, they only did like simple changes. They did like an aesthetic change on it. My phone's about to die, to be honest. Like the cool thing about this phone is I never have to charge it. And so like I'll let it get to like the very end. But I used to do some like Call of Duty on it and things of that nature, but I don't really game on it that much. Yeah, it's at 4%. But this thing, it's got a 6,000 milliamp battery on it. It's massive. Like even at the Note phone that I got had like a 4,200 milliamp battery on it, and it still was able to last all day. This phone will last me a day and a half on like I take a ton of photos, a lot of videos off of it still. And I do not a lot of gaming, but I'll do some gaming on it, and I watch a lot of YouTube on it, and it'll last a whole day and a half, which is crazy. And that's with 120 hertz refresh rate on that phone turned on too. That's not on 60 hertz. So it's an impressive phone, and being a year old and still kicking it like that, it's pretty great. The only thing it doesn't have is 5G, but I mean, I don't even use 5G. I don't leave my house. So I'm stuck using my super fast internet that I have at the house on my Wi-Fi. So, yeah, I'm going to wait it out. This is the longest I've had a phone. It's like literally I go through a phone like every 6 months. And so it's gonna be a year it's gonna be a year next month that I've had this Asus phone, but it does its job, and I'm super impressed with it. Oh, he did. I saw him stream actually. I meant to say something in his stream, but he like turned it off for a second and then he turned it back on. But at that point, I was doing stuff with my daughter. And I came in like halfway through it, but he I wanted to say like what's up and things of that nature. That's cool that you came into your Discord though. I don't know the game that he was playing when I was watching it. It was yesterday or the day before, but not entirely sure what the game was that he was playing. And but I need to say what's up to him. Fall Guys, dude, I love Fall Guys. Honestly, let me end. By the way, I'm gonna end my podcast now. I've been keeping this going for an hour and 40 minutes. So I'm gonna end the podcast real quick, and then I'll keep talking on Twitch for a second. But to everyone listening to this podcast, thank you so much. Catch me every Sunday live on Twitch. I'll link it on the Anchor or this podcast. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. Fall Guys actually, but we were playing Rust Raid Sim yesterday. Rust Raid Sim? What is that? I don't even know what that is. I've been I don't, dude, honestly, I don't even know what game have I been playing recently. I was doing a little bit of Rust, but I was doing a lot of like combat tags and a raid simulator. What is a raid simulator? Like you build up a base and then people raid you? Is that what that is? I don't know what that is. What? So, but how, like, if they supplied a base, what? That's a thing? Dude, link me the IP address to that. Like, what do I search on Rust? What? That's a thing? Modded? How do they keep it fair, though? Do they, like, type in raid sim? Do you have to come in, like, at certain times, or are the matches just, like, super fast? Dude, Rust is, like, getting so great with, like, the mods that they're having. It's so insane. Matches go for like 40 minutes. What? That's so. Are the base designs always the same, or do they switch them up? That is sick. Oh, I need to upload this podcast too. No, that's work. Now you guys can hear me for sure. I had to change it in Streamlabs OBS. You guys should be able to hear me now. Yeah, boy. How do I cook rice? Dude, I cook rice. It's pretty simple now. Okay, you guys can hear me now. So I cook rice, uh, 1.5 cups, loud and clear. Okay, figured as much. This is gonna take a bit, anyways, to transfer this podcast. But 1.5 cups of water. I use I grow my own herbs now, which is pretty cool. I bought this Arrow Garden, which is super sick, and show us the desktop file cooking rice. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I measure water, and then 1 cup of water plus my herbs I cook or I grow. Dude, well, I want it to be perfect, man. Look, my rice comes out great. Look, I'm Hispanic, so rice is in my blood as well, and my rice comes out pretty awesome. Yeah, dude. Yeah, well, I mean, you guys are half Asian, half Spanish, so I guess yeah, that's true. You guys have it both. You have 2x way. Damn, dude, you guys are talking high level tech stuff over here. But I don't know what rice PDF you saw, dude. I don't know. Uh Oh, you probably saw this. This is or no, that wasn't rice. Go to desktop. Oh, dude, I'm gonna have to quit out of Rust to go into desktop. 1 second. Oh shit, I learned something new today. Uh Oh dude, I don't know what is this? Oh, I think that's something that I don't even know what this is. Where the hell did this come from? I don't know if this is something that my wife put on my computer. What is this? I honestly don't know what this is, to be honest. This is hilarious. The rice is like super simple to make. I've never, but I know like she doesn't have issues either because she makes rice as well. That is, dude, what a great eye, man. By the way, I honestly I did not even know this file was sitting on my desktop, dude. That's like a little Easter egg, dude. That's how you learn. Yep, that's how I learned, man. I learned how to cook rice that way. Was from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. That is so funny. No, I was playing an RPG earlier today. I've been playing an RPG every Sunday called Fate Condense. Rice cooker. I'm using a rice cooker. Makes it a lot faster and easier. I know how to make it in a pot as well, but rice cooker is just easier. Um, Rust Sim. But I'm about to have to close my what did I save that under? Shit. Oh, live podcast one. The fuck, it cooks in like 20 minutes in a pot. Yeah, do you know how quick it is in a rice cooker, dude? Well, I don't know what you're talking about, Unholy. Oh, Raid Sim. You're right. Raid Sim. Raid Simulator. What is this? This is so sick. You can hear my daughter in the background. What? Did that? That is definitely. Is that right? That's not even right. What is this? Oh my god, it didn't even transfer. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. These files are so massive. Gotta make sure this is like... I'd be very surprised if it just does this in 3 minutes. That doesn't even make sense. So the microphone I use for my podcast is connected to my Rodecaster Pro, which is what I use to locally record my podcast. And whenever I transfer files, it mutes this mic. But normally I don't have to run into an issue of that because I'm not doing like a live stream. But it's something to notate now. What the fuck is going on? Oh. Oh, you're trying to do it in Twitch.
No, you. Shut up.
What is this, dude? This is so insane.
Yeah, boy. I sucked my previous.
Basics,
What?
fuck, very hard.
What? What?
Go to room 2 if you can, that's the best one. That's parkour. How the fuck does the zoom work? Do I have craft here? Or no? Wait, what is this? Oh, you're trying to like... I have no idea what's going on here. So you said this is parkour then? Alright, I gotcha. How do I go back? Alright. So I need to go to the... Okay, just make sure that's still downloading. Try /join. Oh, oops. Oh, got it. Okay. 2, 3. Oh. What the fuck is going on? Alright, so I got a turret, dude. I got guns. So you're defending. Okay, cool. Where my guns at? Okay. I'll go there. Dude, this is fucking insane. Oh, give me that. Yeah, boys! Let's fucking do this shit. Oh, dude. What? This is how the base should be built. Oh my god, yes. What? Is there hollows? Probably no hollows, right? Can I leave the base? What the fuck is going on, dude? This is so sick. I'm gonna shoot you, bot. Should've got a 4x on one of those. I just. Got my meds right here, boys. See you. I'm a little rusty right now. I just got done doing a podcast.
On me, on me, on me, on me.
I'm me, dude. I'm me, dude. Boy. Oh shit! I don't know why that's there. I'm not gonna organize. No one touches these guns right here, boys. Oh, dude, this is perfect. This is so sick. It's got AIDS, dude. Oh my god. Go to my body, dude. I got this, boys. Stupid bitch. dude. I knew you're here. Ah, fuck. Dude, this is so sick. Alright, but I gotta get off. Gotta upload this podcast, and when I do, I'm getting off. What is this? Oh shit. You suck, you suck. Who the hell shot me? What the fuck? No one's ever watching this angle, it's so funny. What? Alright. I'll end it on that note. Gotta upload this podcast and then do other things as well. But thank you guys for tuning in. Looking forward to doing more of these for sure. Yeah, sure, whatever. But yeah, thank you guys again. GG's. Thank you guys. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.